On behalf of the Singapore Kindness Movement and the LifeVestInside, we are very happy to be in partnership, and we wish you all a very happy World Kindness Week. The crisis of COVID-19 has been tough for most of us, but at the same time, it's brought out the best in many of us. We are witnessing today many acts of kindness and many positive actions from individuals and ground-up movements in the past few months. Many of our people are doing their part, from essential workers keeping us going to ordinary citizens respecting the measures that are in place, keeping a safe distance, wearing masks, and doing all the necessary actions that will keep us all safe. And we appreciate these efforts and we acknowledge them. The way we live, work, and play has now changed. We call this the new normal. And kindness is even more important these days than ever before. We must adjust our lifestyle, but we cannot do without being kind. It is important to be kind because in all circumstances, kindness will make life pleasant for everyone. It's also important because kindness is in each one of us, and we all do need to receive kindness, and we also need to share kindness. Human life is about social interaction, and in any social interaction, the old saying that we should do to others as we want others to do to us must always remain a maxim for all of us to practice. And at the same time, as parents, by doing good to others, we are also role modeling what is important to our children. Kindness, after all, is a personal choice. Regardless of any situation we find ourselves in, we can be the greater version of ourselves. And it is a choice that we can all make. Given two choices, to be greater in character and values will always trump the idea that wealth, success, and power can make us great. Because ultimately, we remember greatness because of goodness, rather than because of power, wealth, and success. The measure of our success is the greatness in being kind. And we can all work together to become a greater society by being kind, starting with ourselves. There are a number of studies that have been done, research, experimental studies, and they have attempted successfully to measure the physical and mental benefits of being kind. For example, they have found that when a person performs an act of kindness, our brain actually produces neurotransmitters or chemicals like dopamine, which is associated with positive thinking. The brain has its own chemical like morphine and heroin, which is called endorphins. When a person does an act of kindness, endorphins kicked in and they feel a lot more sociable and a lot more positive. Doing good, thinking about kind acts, or even counting kind acts actually makes socially anxious people feel better. There's a study by the University of British Columbia where I graduated. I did my graduate studies there. And for 4 weeks, researchers assigned people with high levels of anxiety to do kind acts for other people at least 6 times a week. Researchers found that doing nice things for people led to a significant increase in positive moods, which is the result of endorphins and oxytocin and serotonin kicking in. It also led to an increase in relationship satisfaction and a decrease in social avoidance and in socially anxious individuals. So in fact, these studies have shown a positive feedback loop. The kinder you are, the happier you feel. The happier you are, the kinder you become. So we need to engage people in kindness in order to not only feel happy ourselves, but also spread happiness around. In fact, in my neighborhood, I live in an apartment, not a big apartment. We have about maybe 20 families in this apartment. And we have always tried to create great neighborliness. And during this COVID-19, we have older people living in this apartment and younger people living in this apartment. And I've noticed that neighbors reach out to each other. For example, we have neighbors who would call on us and said, I'm going out to the mall. I'm going to the marketplace. Is there something I could get for you? Because you are seniors and you're not supposed to be out that often. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? That people reach out to each other. I've also noticed that in our neighborhood, some families have come together and they have volunteered to do things at home. So one particular neighbor, one floor up, they have been collecting a lot of old good material fabrics, and they've been cutting them out and creating beautiful masks out of that. The same family has also been doing home sanitizers. And after creating a whole lot of them, then they started to give away to nursing homes and other places. And so through all that activities, the families are being bonded. I think it was Mother Teresa who said that we are not all able to do great things, but we can all do small things with great kindness. Kindness is about everyday behavior. It's about simple things like smiling at one another. Even with the mask on, we can smile with our eyes, we can nod with our head, we can wave our hands, and we can actually greet each other and acknowledging the presence of each individual around us. COVID-19 has also helped us to slow down quite a bit. Slowing down is part of the mindfulness that people are talking about. Mindfulness is not a rocket science. It's not even a religious thing. Mindfulness is about being aware of our surrounding, aware of our neighbors, aware of any situation we find ourselves in. And when we are aware and not self-absorbed, we begin to find that there are needs everywhere. And then we begin to reach out to meet that need. Right now, even when we are encouraged to stay at home, kindness can still be expressed, albeit in a different way. We can text each other, WhatsApp each other, make a phone call, email something positive, say something to encourage people. I receive many texts every day of people asking, how are you? Just wanted to keep in touch. That makes a difference. We can all do that. Kindness is infectious. And when more and more people start to be aware of others and be conscious of reaching out, then kindness is being passed on. And it can be contagious as well. 3 takeaways. Well, I've got 100 takeaways, but I'll give you 3. I think the first thing is be conscious of the fact that you are not alone in this world. Be conscious of that. And therefore, be other-centered. In fact, kindness, I define it in my little booklet, the 5 benefits of kindness, simply as other-centered. The more we are able to think of others, the more we will feel thankful, the more we'll feel grateful, the more we'll feel that we are not alone. The more we will become aware of the needs of others. So be other-centered. That's the first thing. The second thing is ask the question, Not what you can do for me, but what can I do for you? It is the smaller question of the big question President Kennedy asked the American people. Ask not what the country can do for you, but ask what you can do for the country. In the same way, ask not what others can do for you. Always ask yourself, what can I do for others? When you meet a colleague, ask, how can I set you up for success? When you are at home and you're with your family, your mother, your father, your siblings, ask, what can I do to help you today, Mom? What can I do to encourage you today, Dad? And when you're with friends, ask your friends, is there something you need that I can help? I think that would be a wonderful thing. And thirdly, I think we should be able to do simple things as a matter of normative practice, like smiling, like saying thank you, like saying I appreciate you. Don't take anything for granted. Have an attitude of gratitude. And I think when we do all that and everybody does that, and we join all the dots, we're going to have a very kind society. And as a result, a very grateful society. And at the end of it all, a very happy society. For the longest time, we've been talking about the VUCA world, a world full of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And that remains. Up till now, we are still not sure when the vaccine is going to come. It's quite ambiguous. Right now, we realize how complex the world is with all the geopolitics and all the infighting and all the competition going on. It's very complex and very uncertain and very ambiguous. And it will continue. In fact, with COVID-19, the new normal, and nobody really knows when this COVID-19 is going to go away. Some of us feel that it will never go away. It will always be with us from now on. So how do we overcome this VUCA world with a new VUCA? So I came up with a new VUCA, and V stands for vigilance. We need to be more alert, even as we are now, more alert to look out for things that may be wrong, look out for things that we can contribute to make right. I think vigilance begins with ourselves. Look out within ourselves to be a better version of ourselves so that we can contribute positively to a broken world, to a frightened world, to an anxious world. By being positive and being vigilant within ourselves and vigilant towards others, other-centered, we can help others to lift their spirit up when we see somebody who is down, to encourage others when we see others who are discouraged. And we only know that when we are vigilant. And then we got to be united. We got to realize that a little virus like COVID-19 has got no discrimination. All of us together are affected by it. In a sense, COVID-19 unites all of us. We are not just Americans or Canadians or Singaporeans or Indian. We're not just Chinese or Latino or African or Asian or whatever. We are human beings united by a common vulnerability, united by a common fear. And we need to be together to win this war. So being non-discriminatory across all genders, across all races, across all language and religion, as a common humanity with common needs, we can stand together in solidarity. And that's very important to win this war. And then we have the C. The C stands for compassion. Kindness is a huge part of compassion. In fact, I would like to suggest that compassion starts with kindness. It starts with a kind heart. When we are essentially kind, Compassion is the natural outcome of kindness. Compassion is to be able to walk with the common pain of others. When we look at somebody who is in pain, can we just close our eyes and try to walk in their pain? And when we can do that, we are truly, truly compassionate. It's not pity. It is not looking at somebody and just feeling pity. It's not pity. It is as if we are also suffering because someone else is suffering. I am suffering because my brother, my sister, or whatever race, religion, and color is suffering. I suffer too. And that goes back to the solidarity of humankind. And then finally, adaptability. Today, the world has changed. COVID has changed all of us. The sooner we learn to adapt, the quicker we will recover. In fact, human society has survived the avalanche of ice age, the fire of forests, the famine that caused great hunger, and everything else that happened, disasters and tragedies that happen in the world, because human beings were able to adapt. Nothing has changed. Today, we need to adapt to a new environment, a new COVID-19 environment. It means that we have to be able to work from home, for example, when we have to, safe distancing when we have to, find ways to not to socially disconnect even with social distancing, but adapting to a different way of connecting. For example, in the worst of times, we are not even able to touch each other. And how do we adapt this environment to this environment so that we can still feel for each other and care for each other without touching? That is the human ingenuity of the ability to adapt. Yes, the new VUCA is about all that. It's about being more vigilant. It's about being more united. It's about being more compassionate. And it's about the ability to adapt. Thank you so much.